questions. Right after this, you can call in or send in a message on WhatsApp and the doctor will speak to it.
Momo. It has made life happen in lots of good ways.
Mr. Kwanzaa, Mr. Insurance claim no. It
has put together beautiful weddings. It has filled the bellies of boys at their favorite watchy joint.
My guy, stop. Who they chop cancel these days?
It has made millions of businesses possible.
No. We are back in business.
With just a few taps, money moves faster, easier, and safer. Momo understands the weight of your trust in us. We continuously enhance security with features like self-paying reset to help you protect your money. Momo will only call you with 0244 300,000. No MTN or Momo staff will call or ask for your PIN or one-time password. Do not transfer funds to anyone whose identity you have not verified. Do not approve any prompts you have not initiated. Momo, still Munsaka.
Hey, welcome back to work.
Charlie, thanks, bro. Thanks, bro.
Malaria really knocked you down, eh?
Charlie, no joke. Hey. Fever, headache, vomiting, loss of appetite. I couldn't even eat my usual fufu.
You and fufu?
How we go do it?
I hope you got tested before the malaria treatment.
Oh, yes, I did. And thanks to Malatu, I kicked out malaria one time.
Sharp. Anyway, sorry to ruin your excitement, but your boss asked of you.
Okay.
She says she has plenty work for you.
No problem, Charlie. Strength day.
You see,
When malaria strikes, take Malatu, containing Artemether and Lumefantrine. Comes in tablets and suspension for the effective treatment of malaria in adults and children. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Malatu is manufactured and distributed by Ernest Chemists Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
TDC Ghana Limited wishes to inform all business owners, industrial operators, and tenants within the Tema acquisition area that a special rent collection exercise will commence on the 2nd of July and run through to 31st of July 2025. All defaulting leaseholders and occupants are hereby advised to settle outstanding arrears of their house, shops, offices, and ground rent within this period. Failure to comply will result in strict enforcement actions, including closure and sealing of premises and legal recovery procedures. To avoid disruption of your business operations or loss of access to your premises, visit TDC head office at Community 1, Tema. Pay all outstanding arrears and collect official receipts. We urge all stakeholders to treat this notice with urgency to avoid reputational damage and operational disruption. For further information, please contact our 24-hour call center on 0303 202 731. TDC Ghana Limited, leader in the real estate business.
Hello, Ohima. Eti saying.
Ayo.
Na edahin.
Mekwatade.
Edi bensa.
Krachi. Obesuja na se obehwemkwem.
So, na se jane de wo so eden kwan de obehwem kakra.
Anyway, mekope vitamin B de adwodwemako.
What a coincidence. Biso no na mekoto, eno na me no.
Hey bra, we de wo boa.
Oh, ahon fe minti ntwa wontro.
Sewara.
Vitamilk no emu de he pa na we ni je ho.
Me pe Vitamilk banana any choco because I'm black and proud.
Hey, interesting. Me de me a regular guy oh. So wow.
When you kapao.
So wow. I can see we have something in common. Ohima, yanko ni yanko try a Vitamilk connection. What your bomb kana metia. Anyi bia se kwan down.
E kwan be.
Aha, na muni brebi. Vitamilk di foforo bia be kambusua ne ho ye friend of Vitamilk strawberry. Vitamilk feels good anywhere anytime. This advert is FDA approved.
Joy 99.7 FM.
That's right, you're live on Joy 99.7 FM. This is Drive Time with Lexis Bill. And like we do every Wednesday afternoon, we host the best doctor in Ghana, Dr. Yaw Osafo, CEO of Medicus Hospital, East Legon Hills. Doc!
Lexis Bill.
Our favorite doctor, how are you?
My favorite voice on radio in the afternoons.
You're the man. So nice to have you again. How have you been?
Yeah,
Great?
it's been wonderful. And Kwame, let me start off by saying a special good afternoon to Mary Kofi and the husband, who is the station officer in charge at the Kropong police station.
Oh, okay.
So, Mary had a set of twins yesterday.
Wow.
Yes, but it was very challenging.
Wow.
But she did really, really well. And Mary, I want to say congratulations. You were very, very brave.
That's so nice. Congratulations,
it was
Mary.
touch and go.
Yeah.
But she pulled through. It was yesterday morning. We were hot and then we were happy, and it's the nature of the job that we do. But she did wonderful, and the support from the husband was really, really also very, very touching, and that's what we want to see. I mean, he was there throughout with her, and yes, I know we'll pull through.
Awesome.
It's challenging. We'll pull through. So.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
This is a really good news, eh?
I
feel
feel
so happy.
Very, very, very
yeah,
excited.
a set of twins. Oh, that's good, cute.
Anyway,
so last week we had a conversation about menometrorrhagia.
Right.
Did I get the name right?
You did.
That had to do with
menometrorrhagia.
Yes,
right.
abnormal bleeding. We did some education for a lot of the women out there.
Right.
And so today we are going to activate the phone lines because we realized a lot of people asked. There were so many questions that came through.
Yes.
And people still have unanswered questions. So if you have any questions regarding this particular topic that had to do with, menstrual cycle irregularities,
right,
then you might want to send it ahead to our WhatsApp number 055-1111-997 or call us on 0302216541. Before we get to the phones, I'm sure you'd want to do a recap of that conversation.
Right. So, Kwame, thank you very much. And good afternoon to all our listeners. Last week, we indeed started a conversation based on a message from a friend of ours who has had challenges with her menstrual cycle. And those challenges are that she has heavy, long, unpredictable, or irregular menstrual cycles. And we delved into the causes, and I did mention that key amongst them are usually hormonal causes, and I'd like to just recap one or two conditions that lead to that. Kwame, I think we've discussed, I'm sure we have discussed on more than one occasion thyroid diseases. All right, the thyroid is a butterfly-shaped organ that is located at the anterior aspect of the base of the neck. And it's a small gland, you don't see it, but sometimes when there are problems with it, then it enlarges, it becomes very visible even from a distance, and we call that a goiter. However, sometimes the thyroid gland underperforms in the sense that it doesn't produce the level of hormones, thyroid hormones that your body needs, a situation we call hypothyroidism. And when that happens, one of the challenges you may have is that you bleed, and your bleeding is heavier than normal, it is longer than you would expect. And Kwame, let me take a step back and mention that the normal duration of menses, we expect it not to exceed 7 days. So when we say longer than normal bleeding, you're doing more than 7 days. We also said something about the cycle length, all right? That if you start bleeding today is what, 22nd July, that is day one of your cycle. And we would say you shouldn't bleed again until at least 21 days from this day, all right, before the next cycle happens. Or it should also not become too delayed beyond 35 days from today, if today is your day one. So the cycle length ranges from 21 days, once every 21 days, to once every 35 days. So again, if you are not keeping to this particular schedule, and the duration is longer than the 7 days, and the cycle length also is sooner than 21 days, then we would say there's some irregularity. And hypothyroidism may be one of the reasons. So your doctor may actually want to check your thyroid because of that. So if you see that request, don't say, oh, well, it's not a reproductive hormone test and I don't understand why. It goes to affect the reproductive hormones. We also mentioned that there's a condition we call endometriosis. I didn't say much about it, but let me just delve into that a little bit. Kwame, the lining of the womb is a very specialized tissue because under the influence of certain hormones, it matures, it bleeds, it's shed, and there are very few organs that are so responsive to the presence of hormones. And the lining of the womb is such a tissue. But unfortunately, sometimes you have similar tissue that looks like the lining of the womb showing up or popping up in other parts of the body, which is very, very strange. And it has the same function. Sometimes there's a space just behind the womb, between the womb and then the rectum, all right? And sometimes it can grow there. You can have tissue similar to that which lines the womb in that location. You can have it in the fallopian tubes or on the fallopian tubes. You can have them on the ovaries, popping up over the ovaries. And other parts in of the abdomen. So when it happens that way, it means the person will bleed into these areas and you'll find blood in the abdomen every month.
Wow.
Yes. Just as if the way the womb would bleed every month, then they would have it in these places where you have the tissue, and we will call that scenario endometriosis. Typically, the patient or the woman would complain about deep pelvic pain. Remember, these locations that I mentioned are all within the pelvis or largely within the pelvis, and therefore the patient would always have deep pelvic pain at a particular time in the month. When they pee, when they poop, they move their bowels, it causes them considerable pain as well. So endometriosis is one of those rare conditions that unfortunately we do not have a cause. There is no known cause for it. Why is it that tissue that is supposed to be lining the womb, why are we finding it in other parts of the body? There have been instances where it's been found in the palms.
Oh, wow.
Yes, the skin just beneath the palm. So people would have very red palms or reddened palms specific times of the month. It's just because they are bleeding into those areas. So it can pop up in different places, but the commonest places are those that I discussed earlier on. Unfortunately, too, sometimes I see young women using emergency contraceptive pills. These are also hormonal agents, and they can have a way of disrupting your menstrual cycle. So, Kwame, by way of recap, these are the important points that we raised last week.
That's good. Well, time for us to activate the phone lines now. It's an open clinic about this condition doctor has just spoken about. So if you have any questions regarding that, give us a call, 0302-216-541. You can also send us a WhatsApp message on 055-1111-997. Nanajwa sends us a message, doctor. She says, I want to ask doctor whether there's a cause of concern. I had Jadel,
family planning, yes, is the
for almost 2 years.
Implant.
It was for 5 years, but I removed it last year in the month of October. But I have still not had my menses. I am 51 years. I want to know if that's okay.
Right. So the age is it gives us deep insight as to what is happening. Kwame, the average age of menopause in Ghana is 48 years. All right. Meaning most women by 48 will either stop having their regular menstrual cycles or begin the process of stopping. Okay, the stopping is not just abrupt. It starts. And then when we say menopause, then we mean that there's been a 12-month period, continuous period, where the woman hasn't had her regular menstrual cycles. All right? But it will start with alterations in what you know to be normal. So the Jadel is an implant. It's a hormonal contraception. All right? So we have a way of just confusing the normal or the physiological control of hormones over the menstrual cycle. But then she tells me she's 51 now. So it can be that although she took it out in October, she's gone past the age of menopause, or it is very, very reasonable that she has gone into the menopause, bearing in mind the average age is 48 years.
Okay.
So I would say that if she has doubts, I wouldn't be worried if I were in her situation, but if she has doubt, then she should talk to her physician about it.
Okay. All right. 0302216541 and WhatsApp 05511119997. This message here says, I used to have periods of 4 days, but now it's only 2. Is that normal?
Right. So her question is about the cycle length. The duration of the menstrual cycle. And Kwame, I mentioned that the normal range is anywhere between 2 and 7 days. All right. So we usually talk about the upper, the ceiling, because then the menometrorrhagia, we're talking about prolonged. So if you go beyond that, but anywhere from 2 days to 4 to 7 days is normal.
It's normal, okay.
And every woman will tell you that it doesn't stay in one place. It keeps changing in terms of the duration from the day they have their first menses. Sometimes when they have their first child, it changes as well, and then when they are in their 40s, it changes as well.
Okay. Doctor, is it true that you can be pregnant and still be menstruating? If it's true, why is that so?
Right. So not every blood you see during pregnancy is menstruation. So there's a term, or in Tree they will say, "Oh, bleeding." We will call that bleeding in pregnancy, and then we will begin to investigate that, depending on what time of the pregnancy this is happening. We will have different names for it. So there's something we call implantation bleeding, for example. So that happens in the first trimester. The first 12 weeks of the pregnancy. It's typically not a menstrual cycle bleed, because technically the menstrual cycle bleed happens when an egg is disappointed. All right, so the woman will ovulate, and if after 36 to 48 hours no sperm comes to dance with the egg, then that egg disintegrates, and it sets off the process of the menstruation. The lining of the womb, which was preparing for implantation, knows that nothing is going to happen, and then that lining disintegrates, and then it comes as blood. So if you become pregnant, if a sperm swims and meets with an egg and you form a zygote, then it's going to implant. All right? So you cannot be having your regular menstrual cycles if you're pregnant.
Okay.
But you can bleed. But the bleeding may have different causes.
Okay.
And I think that one your obstetrician or your doctor would tell you exactly what the cause is.
All right, let's get on the phone line now. Hello. Hello.
Papa, Lexis, afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joseph. Let's hear you.
Yeah, please, I want to ask. Lifestyle, including exercises, good sleep, and good diet, help to maintain menstrual cycle.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Joe.
Right, so we have a stakeholder calling, right?
Yeah, these are the stakeholders.
Stakeholders call. Right, so I would say this. I think I mentioned earlier on that one of the factors that contributes to hormonal imbalances is stress. All right, stress can offset the very perfect arrangement of hormones and timing of the release of hormones. So before the hormones are released, the hormones that regulate the menstrual cycle, stress plays a very, very important factor. So we always keep, saying this. A woman who is under great stress can either miss her menses for a particular month, or bleed longer than expected, or not bleed at the time we expected to bleed.
Okay.
All right. So what do we know about exercise? What do we know about good sleep? What do we know about good diet? They all make a contribution to you maintaining that absolutely perfect rhythm that the hormones have to be released from that part of the brain. The pituitary, anterior pituitary, goes on to the ovaries to stimulate them. So I would say that indirectly, all the factors that our brother mentioned can cause the menstrual cycle to be properly regulated.
All right. My question is, I spot when I'm ovulating. More so when I do have sex around the same period, I'm ovulating. I didn't used to experience that. What could be wrong?
Right. So again, that's one of the things that we talk about with the menorrhagia. When I talk about the symptoms of the menometrorrhagia, we're saying that the person can have spotting in between the menses. So what we call intermenstrual bleeding. All right. That the time, your cycle is every 28 days, but then in between that 28 days, you notice that you are spotting. It may be one of the reasons, or we may then say we're suspecting that you have menometrorrhagia, and therefore we need to investigate the cause. And the causes hormonal issues, non-cancerous growths, polyps, fibroids, or what I mentioned earlier on, the endometriosis. These could all be part of the reasons. You could also have infections, PID, pelvic inflammatory disease. That could also be the reason why this is happening. So it's not a straightforward matter. Could be a lot of different things. But so long as you are having what we call the intermenstrual bleeding or spotting in between the time, then you should get a thorough investigation, and a reason might pop up.
Okay. Let's get on the phone line. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, let's
My
hear
name
you.
is Henry. I'm calling from Aveme.
All right, Henry, let's hear you.
Yeah, my wife, since she gave birth, and then 1 month later, she started having a menses. And then, by the way, she went through surgery, by the way. And then from there, then within a month, she menstruated like 2 times. And we went to hospital, at Batok hospital. They asked us to go for scan and then lab. Then when we came back to the gynecologist, we said there's nothing wrong with it. So they have not seen anything. So we should go, and then if it keep on happening, we should come back again. Okay. But from when the time we came from the hospital to now, it's 2 months now. Then it has repeated.
Okay.
So I wanted to ask if I became so curious. I'm so worried. I wanted to ask if it is normal. Now my child is 1 year old.
Okay. So Kwame, I didn't get the first part of the question, but I heard that she's bleeding 3 times in a month, and then they went to the hospital. They did some scan. They did some blood tests. All right. So the first part of the question, you're online. Okay. If you can repeat the first part of the question. You say your child is 1 year old?
Yeah, it's 1 year old now.
Okay. And the first part was what exactly? What was the problem with the delivery?
The problem, she went through surgery. She wasn't able to.
Oh, okay. So she had a cesarean section. All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. She had a cesarean section. So it is entirely possible that we do our investigations, your hormonal investigations. You take an ultrasound scan, and you're still not clear. Let me say this. This is not exhaustive in terms of all of the investigations. Sometimes we go for much more probing scans. All right, we can ask you to do an abdominal CT scan, for example, a CT scan instead of an ultrasound scan or even an MRI scan. But there's something we call laparoscopic investigation, where we pass a tiny camera into the pelvis laparoscopy to look around. So we have not exhausted the investigations. But sometimes, even when we exhaust the investigation, sometimes we find nothing. We would make assumptions of re-establishing hormonal control. And the doctor will put you typically on what we call combined oral contraceptives, to mimic the natural control that we have. It can happen that the uterus no longer is under the control of hormones, which is the default that must happen. So they should go back, and so usually we'll give it some time. So if you go back, we don't find anything, the doctor will put you on what we call combined oral contraceptives to try and re-establish control.
Okay.
But we've not investigated her fully yet.
Kafui says, Brother Lex, I'm 43 years and I've stopped menstruating. I don't feel any pain. I've not given birth before. Please ask the doctor if all is well.
I'd say all is not well, because 43 is a little too early, although it does happen. I would mention that the average age is around 48 years. So 43 is a little early. And there's also something we call premature ovarian failure. When the ovaries, which produces the hormones that regulate the cycle, parts of the hormones that regulate the cycle, if they fail, if they stop functioning physiologically, then we would say premature, because it is before when we expect. So we will not conclude anything on radio. It will be very important, but the question is everything okay? My answer is that nope, everything is not okay, and you should get better answers by going to a hospital for us to do a thorough assessment of the ovaries.
Okay. Look, I thought we would be able to exhaust all the questions.
More questions?
So many more questions, but I guess that we would have to save them for the in-person conversations that they're going to have with you. So please, if you're listening in and I've not been able to read your questions, I'm so sorry. We ran out of time now. Yeah. But you can call Doctor.
Absolutely. So the number is 0501 477 340. Our WhatsApp line is 0501 477 340. Or Kwame, you can come by number 10 Kincho Street. We'll also continue the conversation on our social media handles at Medicus GH.
Yeah. And the Kincho Street is in East Legon Hills, around Ashelboche School Junction.
Right.
Not really far from the school junction. So you can actually go see Doctor and get his team to address your issues. Doc, thank you. We're grateful that you made time to come help us today. Yeah?
Always my pleasure to be here.
All right. Time to find out what's happening in news. And Sheila Sechi is with us shortly.